Hello guys, welcome back to Menambera Academy. This will be our second video on stoichiometry. We are going to learn how to balance chemical equations for different reactions. We are going to have two types of reactions. We are going to balance their chemical equations. So the first one will be on a neutralization reaction. Then the second one will be the reaction between a metal and an acid. So we are just going to have the concepts of how to balance them correct. So first, we have to know the weight equations for those reactions. We have to know the substances being reacted and the products which are going to be produced so that we will deduce their chemical formulas and know how to balance them correctly. So we'll start on the reaction between an acid and a base, which we call neutralization reaction. So let's say we are reacting sodium hydroxide plus, so sodium hydroxide is our base. Okay, so we can have sulfuric acid is one of the acids. Sulfuric acid to produce, generally when we react a base and an acid, we produce a salt and water. So specifically we are going to produce a salt called sodium sulfate. Sodium sulfate. Then plus water. So water is produced. So we want to know the chemical formula of each substance in that chemical equation. So for the sodium hydroxide is NaOH. Then plus for the sulfuric acid is H2SO4. Then we put an arrowhead there. Then we have got sodium sulfate. It will be Na2SO4. So that's the chemical formula for the sodium sulfate. Then plus water, usually it's H2. Oh, this one is symbol. Okay, so want to put the state symbols because when balancing equation, make sure that you have the state symbols of each substance in a chemical equation. So in the acid and the base, usually they are in aqueous solution. So we write the shorthand aqua. So same applies here is aqua. Okay. So for the sodium sulfate, this one is an ionic compound. So it will be aqua. Then water. Okay. It's a liquid, so we put small letter M. Okay. So, but the equation is not balanced. Okay. If we check the number of sodium atoms on the left-hand side, we have 1. Here we have 2. The number of atoms of sulfur, we have 1. We have 1. For the sulfur is balanced. What about for the oxygen atoms? We have 4. We have 1. It's 5. 4, 1 is 5. Okay. So first, we have to make sure that the number of sodium atoms are balanced. So in this equation, we are saying 1 molecule of sodium hydroxide carries 1 atom of sodium atoms. Okay. So how many sodium hydroxide molecules we need to have 2 atoms of sodium? So we should have 2 molecules of sodium hydroxide. So we put 2 here. So we are now balancing the chemical equation. So after placing 2 here, we now have number of atoms of oxygen, which is 2, then plus 4 is 6 on the left hand side. But on the right hand side, we have got 4 here. Then this number of sodium atoms is already balanced, so we don't want to disturb this substance. So what we need is to make sure that there will be 2 atoms of oxygen, so that there will be 6 on both sides. So we write 2 here. So automatically the number of oxygen atoms on both sides are balanced. So let's look at the hydrogen atoms. Here we have got 2. Here is 2 times 2 is 4, because 1 molecule of water carries 2 hydrogen atoms. So if there are 2 molecules of water, there will be 4 atoms. So the reaction is now balanced. Okay, the equation is balanced. So that's it. That's how we balance chemical equations. Yeah, that's it. So we can have another example so that we'll gain confidence when balancing the equations. So we can have a reaction between a metal and a dilute acid, because those reactions are very common in chemistry. So let's say we have got calcium as our metal. We have got calcium plus hydrochloric acid. This will be dilute. Then we produce what? So when a metal reacts with dilute acid, we produce a metal salt and hydrogen gas. So specifically in this case, we are going to produce calcium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Okay, so that's the weight equation for this reaction. So for the calcium, it's Ca, then plus hydrochloric acid is HCl. Then to produce calcium chloride, it's CaCl2. So we have to take note when writing the chemical formulas, otherwise it will be difficult to balance it if the chemical formula of that substance is wrong. So for the hydrogen gas is H2. Then the second step is to write each substance in its state symbol. Okay, so what H2 gas is a gas. Then calcium chloride, usually it's an ionic compound but in aqueous state, in aqueous solution. Then hydrochloric acid is dilute, then usually in aqueous solution. So we just write the shorthand, which is aqua. Then for the calcium, it's a metal. Most metals exist in solid state, so we just write small letter S for solid. Then the last step is to make sure that the atoms for a particular substance is balanced on both sides of the equation. So for the calcium, we have got 1, we have got 1. For the chlorine atoms, here we've got 1, here we've got 2. So there must be 2 molecules of hydrochloric acid, so that we will have 2 atoms of chlorine. So we put 2 here. So how many hydrogen atoms? We now have 2. Here we also have 2. So that's balanced. Don't forget to see more other videos on stoichiometry.